everyone, Pot ISM. Welcome to part 3 of our Tamiya 124th Escort RS Cosworth build. Before we get going today, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you click the little bell notifications, get notified of all our latest videos. Click the like button and leave a comment. I do read and reply to all the comments and appreciate everybody that takes the time to leave a comment on the channel. And of course, if you scroll up in the description, there's a link to a big long list of all the items I use in my videos. So if you see anything, you should be able to find it in there. Right, so we're back with the final part of this build. Today we're going to deal with getting all the bodywork, components put on, the lights, the windows. We're going to take back the body, flat it, polish it all up to a nice shine, get it all on, and add a load of other bits and bobs that we need to add to finish the build. And we'll come back at the end with a few pictures and a bit of a chat of what we thought of the results, and maybe a bit of a chat about the next build as well. So, without further ado, let's jump straight in and start with our bodywork. Okay, so we're straight onto our bodywork today. So what we're going to do, we're going to take back the clear coat finish, which has been drying for about a week. We're going to flat it down and polish it up, and in the meantime, remove any imperfections that we got when we put the 2K on. So we've got a few specks of dust that landed in the roof, a couple on the bonnet, there's a couple on the side. So we've got some 8000 grit micro mesh, and we're just going to lightly go over and take care of all these dust spots, and then we'll come back with 12, and then we'll polish it up and hopefully get a little bit of a better finish. Now, we're not going to get it perfect because I won't push my 2K that far to risk burning through it. I'm happy enough to get rid of the most, so if you want to push it, carry on. If not, I'm just going to get rid of the high spots. Now, obviously, be careful of any raised areas, any corners and what have you. Take your time because it's very, very easy to burn through the paint. Really, really easy. So now we're on to 12,000. As you can see, we're using it wet, and we're just taking our time. There's no rush with this. Just go around the bodywork and flat it all to a even surface all the way around. Once you're done with the whole body, dry it off. And then we're going to come back with our polish. So we've got a polish, got a microfiber cloth. We've moved from the dusters to microfibers, and there's a big difference. It's a lot better. So this is just a polish, so it's not too aggressive. We don't really need anything all that aggressive. So it's a case of rubbing it on evenly, giving it a good work in. Again, being wary of raised areas and edges and corners, and just take our time. Work our way around, slowly polishing it up, bringing back that shine that we've lost with the micro mesh, and just take your time, work your way around. Once you've polished it all up, pick a different cloth and give it a buff up to a nice high shine. But like I say, just be very aware of those edges and corners and anything raised basically, because it is so easy to burn through with polish or sanding paper or pads or anything like that at all. Just really take your time. So here we go, it's all been polished up, and as you see, we've got a nice clean microfiber now. Now another tip I'll give you as well is don't cut these microfibers up, they go everywhere. I will just use a full size one now and just remember the corners that I've used. But as you can see, we've got a nice shine. We've got rid of most of the dust. There's a few specks, well, remnants of it left where I just don't want to push it too far. I'd rather leave a slight imperfection than have to completely re-2K the body, so that's just a compromise I'll make. Like I say, if you want to carry on, feel free. We've done the spoiler as well off camera. Be very careful of that spoiler. That support strut is very easy to break. And once all the polish is done, we've got our toothpaste, and we're going to go through all the recessed areas and just remove any polish residue which you will collect in recessed areas. You can see it on that front A pillar. I've got a little bit in there, but we'll go around, get rid of it all, and then give it a quick polish up again, so we've got a nice high shine. So an old toothbrush is a very, very handy tool for this. As you can see, once we've cleared it all off, get a real good polish up, and again, just check that there's none left. You might find a piece later on that's got a bit of polish in it, but it's easy to pick up the toothbrush and just get rid of it. But yeah, I'm happy with that. It's not 100% perfect, but it's more than perfect enough for me. As you can see, they still see the slight imperfections of the dust. You could push that, but I don't really want to. I'm happy with that. So clear parts now. We're leaving all the clear lenses for the lights on the sprues. This is the only time I will paint parts on sprues because we can cut it flush. We're then going to sand it and go around the edge with a black marker. So there's no real need to clean it up fully beforehand. But use your instructions, look for your references for your lights. You'll find on the back of the Escort the red, white and amber. And then we've got front repeaters which are amber as well. And then the rest are clear parts. So I find load your brush up and just dab it in, following the lines that are in there. And again, same with the orange. You do need to load the brush up a little bit. It will self-level, but keep it away from the edges and just follow the pattern around of the lights. You'll get used to doing this over time. It will get a lot easier. As you can see, we're just loading it up, popping it on, letting gravity and flow level the paints. And then once you're happy that the red is dry, come with the orange. Wait for that red to dry because they will mix quite easily together otherwise. Make sure you refer to instructions and get the right part to paint, because I've done it before and painted the wrong area. And just nice careful painting until you're happy it's all covered. So the windscreen now, we're cutting this off. So we're going to cut it off the sprue. We're then going to cut it as flush as possible with the Tamiya cutters. And then with a 400 Ultima thinny stick, we're going to lightly sand it back. Be very, very careful. These are very gentle. And as you'll see in a minute, I did sand ever so too far up. And we got a mark on the glass, which we had to polish out. So just very lightly, no real pressure on the sander at all. Once you're happy, come with the buffer and then the polish inside of the buffer and give it a real good buff up to a nice high shine. Now when you're holding these parts, be careful. They're very easy to break. And as I'll see now, I've got a little bit of a mark on the glass itself. So we've got some Novus fine scratch remover. These are ideal for clear parts because they're not aggressive at all. And there we go. We're going to pop a little bit on a microfiber again. Just give it a quick buff up and we will be back to new in a few seconds. Really good stuff, the Novus. You see, just working it in, no real pressure. We're just buffing it away, and then once we're happy, flip it round, dry it off, and buff it to a high shine. So we've got a Zero Paints mask set for this. These are well worth their money. There's only 2 screens to mask. The side windows are completely masked off on this car. So these are made to fit perfectly. They pretty much do for the ones I've used, and just need a careful application. And again, it's one of those things, you'll either get it in place first time, or it's going to take a few goes to get it in. As you can see, one sheet there for the front, and one for the back. So I find it best to get 2 corners lined up first. So go for the top corner, and then top left, then top right, and then as long as it's equal, you can then take it down and burnish the edges down with a cotton bud to make sure they're fully down. An important step, because when you come to paint it, if it's not fully down, you run the risk of getting primer under the mask. So that's the front and rear part on. We're now going to mask up the sides. Now, there's a demarcation line because it's frosted. So take your tape right up to that. And then just follow that line all the way around each 4 sides, and then fill in the centres to fill in the rest. And again, make sure the tape's fully burnished down. Make sure you follow that line pretty accurately. As you can see, there we go, we've got Tamiya 6mm tape. And again, grab another piece, do the back, both sides, and then infill it. As you can see, there's our last piece, so that's all infilled. Again, make sure all the edges are down, make sure all the corners are jointed up, and you'll be good to go. Now back to the lights. These are dried overnight. I'm trying something new today. We're going to paint the back of the light silver rather than trying to paint in the light cluster. This is the first time I've done this. As I say, this has been filmed over several days, so you're coming back to me day after day. Things are well and truly dried. Don't try and paint this on while the red is still wet or the amber, because it will run. And as you can see, it gives a good look. I think it's much better doing it this way. I did the front, rear, and fog lights as well, all together. So I think it's a much quicker and easier way of doing it, to be honest. So we're going to get our Azu tape. And we're going to carefully mask off our window seals. Now, another tricky job to do, a little bit of a pain, to be honest. But again, time spent is well worth it. The more accurate you are, the better it will look. So again, you've got the demarcation of the panel line around the windows to follow. Using the thin tape, this is the 0.7 from Azu. You can follow that line nice and carefully. It's a very boring job, and it took me about 3 hours to do the whole car. There's a lot of windows to mask on this one, and they're quite tricky as well. So get all your main parts masked off, and then I'll come in with the 2mm tape to take it up to the edge, and then we'll come in with the 6mm Tamiya, and then we'll come in with our Tamiya tape and cling film or saran wrap, depending on where you're from. And it's the same process all the way around, and then we come to this front spoiler. So this is going to be painted in semi-gloss black, and we'll do the window surrounds in UMP primer. As you can see, everywhere's been done now. We've got right up to the edges we're trying to mask with the AZU tape. The 0.7, we've then got the 2mm up to that to give us a bit of distance. Then we've got the Tamiya 6mm, and now we've got some cling film. This is food wrap, saran wrap, I think you call it in the States. And we're just going to pick a piece. We've folded it over in half, cut it in half, and now we're cutting into sections. And this will infill the larger areas of the car rather than wasting huge amounts of masking tape. This is a much quicker and easier way of masking. So we'll grab the cling film. We'll then grab some 10mm Tamiya tape and go half and half over the top, as you can see. And then we'll offer this up to the 6mm. And again, be wary of everywhere that needs to be masked, because on this, because we've got the front spoiler, the front splitter to spray, we can't go right up with the cling film, so it takes a little bit of careful masking. And again, with all this tape, make sure it's all fully detacked. 2K is very resilient, but I've still seen people pull up the paint before. So detack every piece of tape just on the back of your hand a couple of times, and it'll save a lot of heartache in the long run. So as you can see, because we've got a front spoiler splitter to paint, we're just going to trim that a little bit closer there, and then we can fold over the cling film. It will attach to itself, and a little bit of tape inside handy as well, stop it flapping around in the breeze. And then any areas that are still exposed at the front will fill with more cling film and masking tape. So there we go, coming to the last bits now. Just trimming them to fit. And as you can see, the Ultimate Tape Holder Dispenser is a very, very handy tool. Definitely one of my favourite products we sell. And as always, everything you see me using in these videos, you can find linked in the description of the video. If you got any products you want to look at, go and have a look. So our windows, we sprayed these in UMP Black Primer. I didn't show it being sprayed because you've seen it sprayed before. If you want to see this more in depth, go to the Subaru Techniques Guide, and I will show this fully, how it's done. But for this, there we go. We got all the infill off, and then there's both our zero paint masks off. Very happy with how that looked. Not bad at all, pretty much spot on. And then our last pieces of the masking off the windows. So it takes 3 hours to mask, it takes about 10 minutes to paint, and about 2 minutes to get all the masking tape off. Be careful when you're unmasking. Pull the tape to yourself, not away from the body. Pull it back on itself to minimise the risk. So we need to make some headlights for this. Now the real rally car has the twin headlights. And for the road car, quite common conversion was to put Moret twin lights in. So what we're going to do, we're going to get some plastic packaging, and because the headlights don't come with the car, but the recess is there, we're going to make our own. So on the rally car, it has a plastic insert with the Ford logo on. So on this one, we're going to knock out with our 3.8mm hole punch, the clear plastic we took off the packaging. I'm just going to offer it up to the body. So as you can see, they go in there. And there we go, pretty much perfect fit. So we'll knock out another one. There we go. She's out, put that safety to one side. We'll knock out another. And then we'll paint the backs of them silver, let them dry. And then once we assemble the headlights, we can pop them in, and it will give the illusion of having two headlights. A lot of people on the Escorts do like to remove that second light in the Morets and put a vent in there, but for me, yeah, I think this looked a bit better. So this was the route I went. So there we go, we put some Vallejo silver on the back. So we'll do both of those. We'll let them sit and dry for a few hours. Now, we do get the mesh with the kit, which is the plastic stuff that Tamiya, well, pretty much synonymous for with their armour and car kits. But I've got some, I think it's Fuel Me mesh that I picked up a while back, but any thin mesh of your chosen size will do. And we're going to use this to infill all behind the bumpers. Now I was going to paint it black, and as test fitting it here, I thought I quite like the look of that in silver, to be honest, so I think I'll leave it silver. So we've cut it to size, roughly, all by eye, and now we're just making sure it fits, making sure it's cut straight, and then we're going to attach it using CA glue. So just make sure you're happy where it is, make sure it's all straight. If it looks a bit off, it doesn't look the best, so just take your time again. And then we'll grab our precision pen, perfect pen, I'll get the name right one day. A little dab of CA glue, then we get our kicker. The Deluxe Materials kicker is fantastic stuff, really am liking this stuff. Never spray directly on your model, I never do. I use these micro brushes, we dab it in, and we just touch it, let a capillary action, and it will set that CA glue almost instantly. And we'll pick a few spots strategically that can't be seen from outside. Don't get the CA glue on the mesh, it looks awful. And you can see exactly where it's going. So really take your time and just make sure you get nice coverage without getting it on the mesh and making a mess. So we've got about 4 or 5 different pieces on the front to do. I think it's 6 in total. Hang on, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces on the front to do. And then later on down the line, I decided to do the side vents as well, which on the real car have mesh in them. So we added those later on. We'll get to that in a little bit. But for now, we'll start with that one and move on and do them all. And that's it, really. So we've still got a couple more to do, but most of them are in there now. They're looking good. And while some of them are dry, we're going to use some glue and glaze from Deluxe Materials to pop our headlights in. So I like to leave it out for a little bit to let it get tacky. It gets a little bit more purchase then when you put parts on. And then our headlights we painted earlier in the day, we're going to pop in place. There we go, just push it fully home. I'm quite happy with how they look, to be honest. It could have looked a bit better. With a little bit of texture on there, they probably looked a bit better, but it's better than a clear hole. And yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So we'll do the same now with the proper headlights. So a little bit of glue and glaze in the hole. There is a locating pin on this, so make sure it's orientated the right way. And it just pushes in like so. Job done. Nice and easy. And yeah, quite happy with that. Happy with my DIY headlights. So we've got all our light lenses off now. They've all been cleaned up. And we're going to go around each one as we always do with a Sharpie. Sadly, my editing pen has died, so the Sharpie's been called back into play. And adding the edge to all the lights adds a bit more realism, makes it look like the rubber seal. I think it just adds a little bit of depth to the model as well. So every light part will get this. Indicators front and rear, so we're onto the rear parts now, I think. We are. So you literally go around all the outer edge. And like I say, it just gives that impression that there's a rubber seal there. And once we're happy, we can start installing them all using the glue and glaze again. I've learnt my lesson from using CA glues, even odorless stuff. It still leaves a mark, so my preferred method is glue and glaze if I can. And if not, I'll use the old Aquagloss trick, which we used on the GT40, I think it was. So, a generous amount in there. Make sure you get the right rear light lens. Pop it in. What we don't want is tons of it to squeeze out. A little bit isn't a problem. As you see, we do get a little bit of excess pop out the top. Get the other side in. And with a moist cotton bud, we'll just go around, tidy it all up. And then flip it around the dry one and clean up all the surrounding area. Do apologise if you can hear any noise today. It's rather windy here today. We're getting hit by a storm. So it is a bit noisy in the cave today. But there we go, there's our lights in. Clean up, make sure you clean up well because the glue and glaze will come off quite easily, but it's easy to get rid of it now. And on the front, we've got a Tamiya cotton swab, a little bit of UMP cleaner on it. I'm just going to remove any excess paint or glue from the front. Easily removed, not a problem at all. 2K's pretty impervious to the UMP cleaner, so you're quite safe to use it. And this is our mesh now for our side vent. So we're using our small shop's bending tool. We've got a bigger piece than needed. We're going to bend it so we get an edge. And this will allow us to glue it in place. So we bent it to just under 90 degrees, I'd say. And then we've gone to 90 degrees. Thought, nope, we'll do it straight. Very handy tool. As you can see, you can spin it around so you get a full flat edge on one side. So we've got it placed in the side. So the edge we've bent, it's L-shaped. So we've got a part on the car and the part on the grille. And the part that's on the car, we're just going to add some CA glue, exactly like we did to the front grills. So get your CA glue in place, make sure it's exactly where you want it. And then we'll hit it with the kicker again and secure it in place. So there we go, that's all the mesh work done now. We're now going to get our screens installed inside. So again, we've got it in place. We cleaned it all up before it's gone in. The microfiber cloth's doing a fantastic job of cleaning the glass. Get it as clean as possible and then pop it in place. And just add a few dots of CA glue where it cannot be seen at all. If this hits the glass and hazes, you will see it a mile off. So make sure it's in areas that can't be seen. And if you do apply a little bit too much, just wipe off with a cotton bud. Because we don't want any excess in there. You don't need it all over the place. We just want it between the glass, touching the glass and the body. And once you hit it with some kicker, like we're about to, it will set it really nicely. And there we go. So we'll pick about 4 or 5 points in the car to do. And once we're happy, we'll leave that to dry for a few hours. Now, there is a provision in the kit to put the rear wiper in. I've never done it on the rally car. I don't even think it calls for it in the kit, to be honest. So obviously Tamiya at some point was thinking of doing this as a road car. So it's handy for us because we're going to use that today. So I drilled the point in the spoiler where the mount would be for the wiper. And then a little bit of glue and glazing. I'm off shot a little bit, I do apologise. And there we go. There's our rear wiper in. And again, as with everything, I put it aside for 5 minutes to dry. And then before we get anything else in, we're going to put our body in. Thought I could hear something rattling around in there, but I can't. Don't worry, I did also replace the handbrake lever. I just completely forgot to do it here. I was lucky and found a white metal one I was given a while back. So it's 2 locating points on the back of the body. It pretty well simply fits in, and there's 2 pins at the front that just need pushing in and over. And that is it. Now, it sits well at the front. On the back, I think it could have done even a touch lower. The real cars did ride pretty high. They weren't that low from factory. And I was hoping I could just clip it over the body mounts to take it a tad lower, but there was no way of that happening because all the bodywork inside, it would have took major surgery, and I thought, no chance. Wing mirrors, so a little bit of CA glue. Thicker CA glue, just make sure you're very careful when applying it and pop them on. Try and do it in one go. Don't drop them and leave a streak down the car because I've done that before. And then our rear spoiler. So we're using our Deluxe Materials Rocket Max for this. It's an in-between consistency, not too thick, not too thin. A couple of dabs on the pins at the top. They're all locating holes in the spoiler. And then we've already put a little bit of CA glue where the strut sits in. So the way I do this is locate the pins on top first because there is an actual mounting point for them. Hold it there for a second and then push down the strut. Make sure everything's where you want it. And the best advice I can give is put it to one side to dry. We had an antenna to the roof. This is one of the rally antennas. I've angled it back because I thought it looked a bit better like that. And as you can see, we're getting there now. Our final bit of work to do is the rear number plate. We've painted that antenna black as well and glued her in place. And we'll just pick one of the number plates out of the rally kit. A little bit of water, setting solution, dry it all off, and there we go, we're all done. So then there we go, we're all done, and I think it looks good. I'm very happy with this one. I'm happy with the colour choice, happy with my choice of doing my own track day car as such, and I think it's come out pretty well. It looks very striking in the pictures. So yeah, we might plan to do this in the future with something else, we'll see. But there will be a bench update up probably tomorrow. It's going to explain a few things that have happened and that are going to happen, just slight changes in the process all become apparent. So let's have a look at some pictures and we'll have a little bit of a chat about the build. So I decided this is a track day fast road car. My own envision of what my car would be like if I could afford one of these things, which I can't because they're an arm and a leg now. Few stipulations because of the rally kit. There's no interior. We've got side exit exhaust. I did try doing a rear exit. It didn't look right at all, so I went with the side exit on it. The wheels are perfect. They came with the kit. That would have been my choice anyway. And the blue is just stunning. So this was primed in UMP primer, Ultimate Primer. It was then painted with MAD touch-up paint. I bought a touch-up bottle of paint in the Ford Imperial Blue. We thinned it with the Tamiya lacquer thinner retarder. It took about 10 thin coats to get the depth of this colour needed, and I think that time spent painting it was well worth spent. We cleared it in the Gravity 2K Clear, the Spain one, which again, flawless, absolutely brilliant. We got a few spots of dust which we have to polish out, and we got about 85% of that out of there. I wasn't going to push it to ruin the clear coat. I can take an imperfection on the chin. All my models, none of them are perfect. That's just the way it is. Polished up and shining, it looks really, really good. We did some DIY headlights because the kit doesn't come with 2 headlights, so I wanted like the Moret style twin headlights in there, so we used a bit of plastic and our punch for that. The wheels, we were lucky, they came with the kit. The Oz wheels would have been my choice anyway, like the Monte Carlo came with, so that was a handy choice. The interior, we've added micro balloons on the seats, which I thought looked amazing. And then we've added Studio 27 photo etch and ribbon belts in there as well. And I think they look pretty good as well. We did them in blue to match the car. We did the calipers in blue as well to match the car. And I think overall, I'm very happy with this one, how it's turned out. And it is one of my dream cars and the dream colour as well. So yes, I have a miniature model. I'll probably never be able to afford the real thing, sadly. But for now, I've got a scale replica of it and that will do me. So there we go. Let me know what you think in the chat. Let me know what you thought of the build series as well if you followed along. There will be other build series. I'm going to have a break for a week and build just something for myself. There will be a bench update up tomorrow where we're going to explain a few things that have happened and are going to happen and are going to change a little bit. So stay tuned for that one. The next video build we do will probably be the Chevelle, the Rebel Chevelle. That's the plan anyway. I've got a load of Gravity Spain paint on the way to me. But we'll chat about that in a bench update tomorrow. There'll be one up tomorrow. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that build. Like I say, leave a comment down below. I do reply to all the comments. I appreciate everyone that takes the time to leave a comment and a thumbs up as well. If you're not sub to us, sub to the channel too. And as always, check out International Scale Model Facebook page and forum. The UMP retail site where you can get all the nearly all the stuff you see in these videos. You can get on there. Click in the link in the description. There's a link in there. It takes a big long list of all the products I use in these videos, from tools, lights, cutting mats, everything is in there. Near enough, it needs updating a little bit, but near enough everything's in there. Check out the Live the Bench page for the live show every Friday, the Off Air Hangout group for Off Air Hangouts, and of course my Paul ISM modelling page where all my work is shared to. So if you ever want to contact me or see anything I'm building, go to that page. You can message me on there. The link's in the description down below. And you can direct message me on there, and I always answer back. And that's it. So thanks for watching today. I'll catch you all next time. Take care. Bye-bye.